Boom! Hey everybody! Once again, it is good to see you guys. I am Simba the Speaker, your guide to cleaning business success. If you are new here, do not forget to subscribe to my channel, please. And at the end of the video, if you feel like I gave enough value, if you feel like I even tried, if you even put in some effort to give you guys some value, give me a thumbs up, comment, like, all of that, right? Subscribe. It would really help, as I am a new channel, just trying to get out there and give some game to people. Okay, so today I want to talk about how I started a six-figure cleaning company. And I'm kind of going to go into I'm not going to go too much into the steps, but more of the framework of what that model is, right? Because it's a remote model. It's a remote cleaning business. So with that being said, if you watch my previous videos, you've seen I'm gonna give you guys some notes. That's another thing I like to do, and that's what I mean by giving value. I'm not just gonna talk and you have to listen. I'm actually gonna write down the notes as well. So if you want, you could write it down. You can screenshot them. However, right, you can note them. You can put some notes or take some notes on what I'm saying. You can screenshot and annotate. That's why I had those two ideas in my head. They were clashing at the same time, so I couldn't get that off. But if you check out my previous video actually talks about step by step what you need, But today I want to talk about more of the strategy behind it and the framework. The strategy and the framework. I might go into maybe some tools and some metrics, but we'll see how that goes. For those that know, you're probably going to hear me say this a lot. I'm a chatty patty. What do I mean by that? A lot of times I'm really trying to get straight into the video and, not take too much time. Sometimes I try to keep the video for 10 to 15 minutes. It has never worked because I started to get so passionate about this. Only because, like I said, both of my brothers are medical doctors. My mom is a doctor as well. My dad is, he does something within the pharmacy industry or whatever. The reason I bring this up is because I didn't want to do the STEM, the tech, the engineer, right? I wanted to go the entrepreneurship way. And a lot of times people think to be an entrepreneur, you have to have the next big, bright idea. And simply, that's not true. That's such a big misconception, right? All you have to do is have a model that works for you, right? And the model I came across was the remote cleaning business model, right? The remote cleaning business model, simply where I connect a client that is looking for cleaning with a service provider that can actually do the cleaning. I am the one that charges the price and has retains the actual client. When I charge the price, obviously I charge for labor plus a certain amount of profit that I'm trying to make. So I know the overall total I'm going to charge the client. Bada boom, bada bing, right? That's kind of the overall basic. But I want to talk about something different, right? Within the last video, of my last couple of videos, I talked about more step by step. But now I want to talk about more so strategy and framework, right? The strategy and the framework of how this model works. So let's get straight into it. So we're talking about, I'm going to put it up here, I got to make sure I actually saw it, y'all. Let me get this together for you guys. This is when I get so excited and I'm gonna have it set up. So we're talking about, I want to erase this, right? The remote cleaning business model. And once again, for those that have actually watched some of my previous video, you know that one, we also call this the middleman business model. And the other thing we call it is the remote home service business model. And the reason I say that is because it's not only cleaning that you can run this entire model with, right? You can run this entire model with lawn service, pool cleaning, window cleaning, junk removal, whatever the service, HVAC, plumbing, you can run the same business model. So you don't have to stick to cleaning, right? But you can even watch my channel just to understand the strategy behind how to actually create or replicate the successful model, right? So I want to talk about the strategy, right? What is the main strategy of this model, right? The main strategy of this model is leveraging subcontractors for doing the work. We're leveraging subcontractors to do the work. Once again, I say this in some other videos. I had a webcam. The webcam sometimes glitches. So I'm thinking about, I don't mind going back to it again. But I actually like I'm using my MacBook camera. But the thing I like about the MacBook camera is I can actually I like being able to talk directly to you guys, and while I can write and then actually see what my notes look like in the video. So, but getting back to it, right? So the first strategy is leveraging subcontractors to do the work. That's the first strategy of this model, right? We're only the middleman. Our main objective is literally to acquire clients, right? Our own main objective is simply to acquire clients. And we do that by building an online storefront. If you want to learn about building an online storefront and ads and unpaid ads and organic traffic, you can watch my other videos. I'll talk about that in those videos. But today I want to talk about, like I said, strategy and framework, and maybe some metrics. We'll see how I'm feeling in this video. So the main strategy is to leverage subcontractors to do the work, right? We're actually not doing the work, which makes it easier, right? Because a lot of times, and we have these solo entrepreneurs that are not only handling the business side of their model, whatever they're doing, they're also handling the work side, and it becomes very stressful on the solopreneur or the actual person doing the work, because how can you? It's hard to sit there and clean and answer calls and charge clients and do all of these things, right? So and that becomes a big problem, right? So what we're doing is we're taking that task on. And this is where the value comes in, right? The value comes in the subcontractor. All you have to do is focus on the work. You don't even have to pay for marketing, right? If something goes wrong, you don't even have to really handle that for the most part, beyond maybe going back to do a reclean. But that is where we're offering value to you. We'll get you the client, right? Technically it's our client, but they still get paid for the labor. We'll get you clients, or we'll get you labor without even having to spend $1 on marketing, right? And you're making, a lot of times, for example, I probably pay my cleaners more than a lot of these other companies pay their cleaners. Granted, I charge a premium price so I can afford to fit that in, right? But nonetheless, cleaners, they're even getting paid more than, what it would have been had they booked the cleaning themselves. So going back to what I was saying, what we're doing is leveraging some contract to do the work. They do the work. We handle the back end, the admin stuff, which can also be delegated, right? And we'll talk about that in later videos, hiring virtual assistants to take care of that work. But that's where the value comes from, right? That's the strategy, right? And so what tends to happen is, now that we're not doing the work, right? Now that we're not doing the work, what are we focusing on? That becomes the question. What are we focusing on? And we are focusing on, I'm going to actually put this on. We're focusing on, focus on systemizing, operations to scale efficiently. Right? What are we focusing on? We are focusing on systemizing operations to scale efficiently. Now that we don't have to focus on the work, we can focus on growing the company. Right? We can focus on growing the company. How can we take more calls? If we're taking more calls, that means we're going to probably need more work, probably need more VAs, right? What can we do to be able to scale efficiently? If we want to grow the company, what areas of our companies do we have to focus on so it can actually withstand growth? It can withstand growth. I'm looking at my volume bar. I need to. That's what I mean when I mean, like, I get so passionate about this. My volume bar I'm getting a little up there. I might bring it back down, but nonetheless, I want you guys to hear the passion, right? So what are we focusing on, right? We're focusing on systemizing operations and scale efficiently. Systemizing operations for our business to be able to withstand growth. We can't handle every job directly. It is impossible, especially when you're trying to grow. Even when you hire a virtual assistant, right? Even when you delegate that task, it's still hard for one virtual assistant to handle every call, every assignment of a appointment to a service provider. So we need to put systems in place, the right system, because maybe you can have a certain system, but maybe now you need to add a second VA, or maybe now because of the CRM you're using, or maybe you need to upgrade the package. With growth comes the investment, right? That's scaling. The beauty of it is the cleaning industry or the remote cleaning business model, it has such a low overhead that you could honestly keep a lot of the same subscriptions for a very long time before upgrading. You can make $20,000 a month without having to upgrade any of your systems or softwares. That's why I love this business model. Very low overhead costs. So boom, we're focusing on systemizing operations and scale efficiently. We're leveraging subcontractors to do the work. What is our next focus, right? We need to be prioritizing. This is our next strategy, and this is very important. I'm gonna tell you why. I want to write this down first, right? We need to prioritize customer experience. We need to prioritize customer experience and operational reliability. I don't think y'all understand how much work I put into, researching, putting everything down so that I can talk to you guys, take notes. I tell you, I'm really trying to give. That's what I mean when I'm up at night creating points, think about different topics, creating points so I can give you guys this stuff, man. Reliability, sorry y'all. I'm pumped up right now. Creating reliability to create repeat business and referrals. Okay. Let's dissect this, right? Let's dissect this. So we've seen that these are the three main strategies I want to focus on, right? We're leveraging subcontractors to do the work, so we don't have to do the work. What happens when we don't have to do the work? We can focus on systemizing operations to scale. We can focus on growing. Now, what comes with growing, right? We need to make sure that as we're growing, as we're getting more people into the door, the customer experience is perfected, right? And that we know that we have it rolling and automated so well that we can create reoccurring business and referrals. I said this in my other video. The cleaning business, the cleaning industry, whether you do remote or not, one of the most important things that you want to focus on in the industry is reoccurring clients. That is how you are going to increase your pay. I sound like a pastor right now. I'm so passionate about this. You have to focus on customer experience and making sure that the operation can withstand scale so that the more clients come through, the more we can create repeat business and the more we can get referrals. I love referrals. And I love recurring business. I love referrals because after you finish the appointment itself is pure profit. Yeah, you paid the acquisition cost for that first client, but that first client just telling another client, and then you getting the booking off of that, you paid $0 for marketing for that client. If anything, the client did the marketing for you. I love recurring business because after you pay once, everything after that is profit. And a reoccurring revenue, a reoccurring profit, something I said in my last couple of videos. Very important. When someone is looking to buy a business, that makes reoccurring profit and reoccurring revenue makes your business at least 3 times, at minimum, 3 times more valuable than a business that doesn't have any reoccurring profit or reoccurring revenue. So back to the point, right? We're leveraging subcontractors to do the work. Now we're focusing on systemizing operations to scale efficiently, right? So we can withstand getting more clients in. But now that we're getting more clients in, now that the system is good to go, now that we have an efficient system that it has the ball rolling, keeping the ball rolling, we can withstand growth. We need customer prioritization is important. These 3 strategies is what makes the remote business model. That's why I love it. You don't have to do the work. You just have to focus on growing the business and making sure that even as we're growing the business, customers are getting great service. I can do that. And to be honest, I could do that anywhere, right? You can, and that's the beauty of it. It's online money. You can do this in Bali. I can do this in Texas, in DC. I can do this in Nigeria. I can do this in South America, in Colombia. I can do this anywhere. As long as I'm focusing on these 3 main strategies, I can make this business grow anywhere. I can make this business grow anywhere. So these are the three main strategies of the remote cleaning business, right? So as I don't want to go into the bottom of this page here because I want to go into the next page because we're going to now go into what are the framework of the business. And this is why I say you guys gotta give me a thumbs up. You don't have to, but I would love to get a thumbs up. You guys see, I'm passionate about this because I'm like, man, you don't have to be a college graduate. You can be a high school dropout, a college dropout. You can do this. You can be a doctor and just want some extra money to pay off your school loans. You can do this, right? You can be a stay-at-home wife and you just want to sit there and put money into your child's your child's like college education fund. For example, I think Florida has something called Florida Prepaid, where you can pretty much put money every month to then, by the time they're 18 getting ready to go to college, their college is paid for. You don't have to come out of pocket. This itself can supply that, right? If you want to make an extra $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, this can do this. And once you get it automated, you're literally probably putting 8 to 10 hours a week into the business, maybe less. Come on. This business model is amazing. People are just sleeping on this business model. So let's look at the framework. Let's look at the framework. What is the framework of this business, right? What are some of the things that we are focusing on? And this is in no particular order. This is the framework. Let's start with the first one that I have. Client acquisition. This is a big framework of the business, right? Client acquisition. You can use paid ads, organic / unorganic. We're gonna put unpaid, right? Word of mouth / referrals. So this is the first framework. Once again, remember what I said, y'all. We are the middleman. So it is our job to sit there and acquire clients. It's our job to sit there and acquire clients. There's one thing we do have to do. We do have to acquire clients. Now, it depends how you want to go about it, right? You can go the paid way or the unpaid way. Granted, I always say to everybody, you're going to hear me say this a lot on my channel, time for money, money for time. If you want to do the free way, you may not pay any money, but you are going to pay your time. And you as an entrepreneur, you as someone starting out, you need to understand now what is the value of each of your hours, right? How much is an hour of your time worth? Understand then, right, if you're not going to spend your time, you're going to have to spend your money. That's where things like paid ads come from. So the first framework that we're talking about today is client acquisition, right? We are in charge of client acquisition. We are in charge of acquiring a client. I always say, another thing I want to add on, make sure that you are keeping the data. Make sure you know your data. For every dollar, how many dollars did you make in return? What was the profit? How much did you charge the client? Did we lose any money? Same with organic. How much of your time did you spend? Right? How much of your time did you spend? And for every hour or so, how much did you make? How much did you lose? You need to see what works and what doesn't. Another thing I want to talk about with client acquisition real quick. Never, especially on the paid side, don't run too many ads all at once. You are going to deplete. You're going to deplete your net, which is the capital that you're using to keep your business afloat. Find one and don't switch to make it work. Maybe you can have a time limit on it, depending on what it is, but don't switch to make it work. You should only add another ad, a paid ad source or paid ad platform when the first one that you're using has become profitable. How do you know it's profitable? Got to keep the data. Got to check the data. How much did we spend? How many clients did we get? Out of the amount of clients did we get, how many did we close? So if the ad platform gave us 4 clients, but we closed 2, right? And let me do the math. I did this last time. And so if the ad platform gave us 4 clients at $100, right? So technically each client is worth $25. So we're going to say 25 each client. But every 4, if we close 2, so we're times by 2, the client acquisition costs becomes $50. And then obviously we can go deep into that. If you want to go deep into that, check my other video in which I broke it down. Because at that point, it just depends on how much do you charge your clients, and then we can start kind of going through that map. I don't want to go into that right now. So yeah, client acquisition. We need to focus on client acquisition. That's a big part of our job. If we have no clients, we have no work for our subcontractors. If we have no work for our subcontractors, we're not offering value. If we're not offering value, we're not making any money. The next framework or step within this business, like I said, this is not in a particular order, hiring subcontractors. Hiring subcontractors. This is very important. Oh my God. Oh my God. Your subcontractors, believe it or not, I don't care if you give them a branded shirt, I don't care if you let them wear their own clothes, they are the brand of your company. What do I mean by that? Depending on the service they offer, it's going to backtrack. The service they offer, granted, obviously it starts from when you pick up the call and, you know, your sales call, sales process. Don't get me wrong. But the service that they do at a client's home is going to be one of the most major impact on how a client views your company, and whether they're going to leave a good review, a bad review, or no review, and whether they're going to refer you to a friend or not. So subcontractors are important. They are extremely important. With that being said, vet your contractors. Vet your contractors. You need to know exactly who you're working with. Face-to-face Zoom call. Check their portfolio. Show me some of your previous work, your previous reviews. When are you available? How many cleaners or service providers are in your team? We need to know all of this. That information is very important, right? If you want to go into even asking questions, hey, how do you clean this? What is your solution for this? How knowledgeable are they in the industry? Are they an expert in the industry, beginner, average? We need to know this because, man, look, you can have a great logo, great LLC name, great sales process, give a discount. If your subcontractors suck, none of that will matter. All of that would be in vain. Like, right? All of that would be in vain. Vet your contractors. Another thing, right? Because subcontractors and service providers, they're human. Let's remember this. They are human. What does that mean? There are times that they may become unreliable or emergency may happen. What do you need to do? You need to have a pool of trusted contractors. So understand when you're starting off, okay, you may have 1 or 2, maybe 2 or 3. That's cool. Okay, that helps, right? When you're starting off, maybe, you have those 2 or 3 that you go to. But man, as we get back to scaling, remember that this right here, as we get back to that second point, scaling, we are going to need a pool of contractors. Look, to get to that 40, 50,000, 60,000, sometimes you are doing 5 to 8 appointments a day. Yes. You are doing 5, 6 appointments a day. Things happen. I've had a time when my cleaner's car broke right before a big appointment. What did I do? Went through my data, looked through my pool of trusted contractors, made some calls. Hiring subcontractors, man, this is important, man. Working with them is so important. Like I said, like you need to have good contractors. I've had good, bad, reliable, unreliable. It happens. It comes with the territory. It comes with the territory. Now going to the next part of this framework, right? So we need next. What do we need? We need to focus on scheduling / dispatch. So this is where your CRM, for those that don't know, that is customer relationship or relations management system. This is where your CRM becomes important. How do we book, schedule, and assign a client? Now, there's obviously software. Once again, I'm going to give you guys probably heard of this one. Booking Koala. A very known platform that allows you to schedule, assign, book appointments, all automated. Send out reminders, email and text reminders. You can do that all through that CRM. So scheduling and dispatch is another framework, right? Remember, we're the middleman. So we need to have some type of a software that can connect that client or that appointment with the service provider, right? And you're not necessarily passing off the client information. That's another thing I like. That's another thing I actually like about this business model. You're retaining ownership of that client. Now, will some cleaners try to, steal your clients? Yeah, it happens. But a lot of times, if you're really good at what you do, if you have a great operation, I've had a client say, hey, I just want to let you know your cleaner try to give me like a separate business card. And you cut them loose. We can accept certain things and give a warning, but when cleaners try to, or service providers try to steal your clients, you cut them loose. You don't keep them. You got to fire fast. So yes, we need to get a CRM to be able to take a booking, schedule it, assign it, follow-ups, reminders, charge the clients. Booking Koala allows you to do all of that, right? So I'm not going to go too deep into that, right? Like I said, I'm trying to get kind of straight through with this video. Another thing that people may not, I want to make this into dots. Another thing that people may not focus too much that I'm going to add into mine's pricing model. We need to know how to charge clients. We need to be charging clients competitive rates. How do we charge competitive rates? You'll see this in my previous videos. When you're starting your business, you need to be calling around to see what other companies are charging. Another hack to add to that, on top of seeing what they're charging, right? On top of seeing what they're charging, see how many reviews they have. And I'll promise you'll notice a trend between those that don't have too many reviews and those that do, and the type of pricing that they charge. That should give you a little hint on, how you would like to start, right? Sometimes you got to start with a lower price just to kind of get your feet wet. But then as you get your feet wet and you get things right, go straight to premium pricing. Or you can go straight to premium pricing. There's nothing stopping. It's your business. Your business. Another thing I want to talk about, SOO, actually, wrong, I want to put a line. SOP, Standards of Procedure. Checklists, bullet points on how things get done. This will help out with quality control. We need to know what are the steps for certain things. If we're closing a client, what are the steps for those? If we're following up, what are the steps for those? If we're asking for a review, what are the steps for those? If a client complains, what are the steps for those? There needs to be a standard of procedure for everything you can think of in your business. The more things you have a standard of procedure to, the less likely you are to get hit with a curveball. the less likely you are to get hit with a curveball. You know everything and anything. And things happen. You do get hit with a curveball. What happens? You handle the situation and you get right back on your laptop and you go right back to making a standard procedure for that same exact issue, so that if it ever does arise, it can get handled without needing you there, with you needing you present, or without you having to handle that situation. And the last thing I want to focus on, I wish I had more space, we're going to say framework continued. Customer retention. I have a cat that is right under me. He doesn't mind being retained here, where he does nothing but enjoy life. Customer retention. Remember I said in the beginning of this video, and I said probably in all my other videos, recurring clients are the life of this business. I'll be honest with you. You'll make maybe a little bit of money with ads, maybe not, but the ads will get you recurring clients, and that's how you start making your money over time as well. Granted, obviously, you can make money from the start, charging a premium price, but nonetheless, customer retention, how are we retaining customers? Whether that be through subscriptions, discounted recurring pricing, some people do memberships. How are we retaining our customers so that they continuously do business with us? It's very important. If you have no recurring customer, if it's very hard for you to get recurring customers, you are probably doing something wrong. Check your sales process, ask for feedback on how the cleaning was, or maybe your cleaners are stealing your clients. Maybe try to give cleaning to other contractors and see what happens. So another thing I want to talk about real quick as well is when it comes to the client retention, right? And I think I talked about it in some of my other videos. You don't necessarily have to get them on a schedule, right? Because you have clients that actually want to be on a schedule. I want to come every 2 weeks. I want to come every 4 weeks, every 3 weeks. It could just simply be like, hey, can we just put you on the calendar for next month? Next month comes around and you do the cleaning and say, hey, when you get put on the calendar for the month after, we'll give you a discount, right? So it could be as simple as that, but we need to be retaining clients. We need to be retaining clients. Guys, so for the sake of this next page, because I do want to use this page, you guys can go through the video, rewind it, pause it, freeze frame, whatever. I'm going to erase this. It's my cat right here. I'm going to erase this because now I want to give you guys some tips / advice. Right? Some tips / advice on being successful with this remote cleaning business model. Remember, this is what I always say. Every time I always just get here talking. I'm going to try to end this video shortly. So quick tips. Use automated booking platforms. To reduce admin work. Remember I talked about Booking Koala that allows you to book, charge, schedule, assign, follow up, send emails. Actually, Booking Koala allows you to make a landing page. Use automated booking platforms like Booking Koala to make your life easy. Second tip or advice, I said this in recently, SOPs, standards of procedures. Make sure we are making them, man. Make sure we are making them. Certain things you can have a standard procedure even before starting the business. I'm not saying don't get clients till you have an SOPs. No, but if you are automating your business and you have systems and maybe you got a VA to delegate the work, you need to be focusing on that. This is important. This is what sets aside experts from amateurs. Having your SOPs is very important. Another tip that people don't like to talk about a lot, and this is very important because people, I'm gonna say people are afraid of confrontation, even though it's not really confrontation. I'll call it that, right? You need to have a Actually, my apologies. You need to be obtaining customer feedback. The quicker we know, I don't like the way obtaining looks. Even though you guys heard me say it. That's better. We need to be obtaining customer feedback. The quicker you know what's wrong with your business, if there is anything wrong, maybe the way you provide your service, maybe the way you do your sales calls, your sales process, maybe the follow-up service after or the follow-up after the service is done. You need to know if there are any flaws or leaks in your business. I always say if there's a leak in your business and all you do is throw money at it to fix it, you literally just run through your capital. So it's not worth it. Start with a small area, y'all. Start with a small geographic area. Start with a small geographic area. You can start with a county, right? Brevard County. You can start with Brevard County. You can start with Orange County. You find your county. Just start with maybe a county with some cities in it and go from there, right? If you're just starting out, unless you have everything detailed, organized in a pool of contractors, don't do all of Florida. And now you're scrambling to get contractors for this place and this place and this place. Right? So start with a small area, get some practice, get your feet wet, and then from there you can start to scale. Like I talked about in the strategy, start to scale your company. Another thing we can do to make more money, offer add-ons. Offer add-ons, right? We can offer inside the fridge, inside the cabinet, baseboards. You can offer maybe a move-in, move-out cleaning, right? Offer add-ons that allow you to charge extra. We could do garage. I do garage and patio. These add-ons add on an extra $50 to $70 to $100. And that is going to make a difference. I'm telling you now, that is going to make a difference at the end of the month. When you look how much you made and how much you need to pay and how much you'll be paying yourself. Remember, as entrepreneurs, sometimes if we don't do the right thing, we don't get paid. That's the reality of it. Yes, there's a way to do it. Read profit first. But I tell you now, if the money doesn't look right, your paycheck will not look right. I promise. So squeeze out. You need to be squeezing out as much money from each client as you can. And add-ons help a lot. Another thing that a lot of these companies don't like to do, especially a lot of the subcontractors you may work with, insurance. Get some insurance. I had a time where a client was going to one of my subcontractors cleaned a client's home. There was a miscommunication between what he wanted done. Apparently, the clothes and other things that got thrown away were actually in good condition, and he wanted to sue. Or said I needed to pay him this, right? And I said, no worries, I have insurance. I was getting ready to put in a claim so they could pay him his money. I'm not coming out of pocket for it. I pay a monthly price for my insurance. $1 million worth of general liability. You know? And even that helped mitigate it because what ended up happening is he didn't even want to wait that long. We was able to work it out. We was able to work something out. Nonetheless, that insurance would have saved my, ASS. That insurance would have saved me real well. And the last tip I'm gonna put here, focus on building long-term relationships. Focus on building long-term relationships. How do we do that? By offering reliable service and good communication. Y'all, I have a client that pays me almost $300 every week. She's been doing that for the past, I want to say 2 years. Never consistent. I built a great relationship with her. Maintain good communication with her. Cleaners are already on a routine. I have one that do bi-weekly as well, almost $300. Long-time relationship. That is what's going to keep a reoccurring client from leaving. Consistent, reliable service. If someone likes something, they want to get it just like that every time. When you have reoccurring clients, try to keep the same contractor with that client unless that contractor stops doing business. If you switch out the contractor, you need to provide a contractor that will do the same level of work or better. Build long-term relationships. You need to be building long-term relationships. For the sake of the time, that is the end of the video. I appreciate you guys for staying here. We talked about the framework, right? We talked about the main strategy of the business model, the framework, and the different steps on what we should be, also focusing on. I gave some quick tips, some quick advice. Once again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. If you feel like I gave a lot of value, please give me a thumbs up. Please, please, please. If you even feel like you've seen a passion or I put in effort to give value, like give me a thumbs up. That would mean a lot just to get these videos circulating. But yeah, so I'm waiting for YouTube to verify some stuff. Once they verify what I need them to, I am going to have a Calendly link so you guys can book one-on-ones. Working on an ebook as well on how to start the remote cleaning business. Ebook will be out shortly. I'll make a separate video talking about that as well. But yes, I drop every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. You can find a video every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Just talking about the remote cleaning business model. I think within some of these videos, I'll just talk about other home services. But I want to at least talk about this niche because this is what I'm an expert at. As I learn, other services and how that works. But I look forward to seeing you guys again for another video. Thank you for being here, and peace.